The Logitech MX Master series has always been more than just a mouse. For years, it's been the choice of people who want precision, comfort, and features that go beyond the basics. Designers, developers, writers, and anyone who lives at their desk know the name well. Every generation brings small but meaningful upgrades. And now the MX Master 4 is here, pushing the line forward once again. Not long ago, whispers of this mouse began floating around. A leak on eBay gave us the first glimpse. Then, a promo video surfaced on a South Korean forum. Suddenly, the rumors weren't just speculation. They became reality. What we saw looked familiar but also new. Logitech hasn't reinvented the wheel here. But they've sharpened it, polished it, and added a few tricks that could make a real difference. Let's start with one of the headline features: haptic feedback. For the first time in the MX Master lineup, you don't just click or scroll, you feel it. Haptics bring a sense of precision and control. Instead of a simple on or off action, the mouse can now respond with subtle vibrations. That might sound like a gimmick, but think about the possibilities. Imagine scrolling through a timeline in video editing and feeling tiny notches for each frame. Or sliding through a spreadsheet and getting tactile feedback at certain points. Haptics turn input into a two-way street. Next up is the action ring around the thumb area. This is a completely new addition. The MX Master series has always been known for its thumb rest, side scroll wheel, and buttons. But now Logitech has added a ring-shaped input zone. It opens new ways to interact. Maybe it will be used for gestures. Maybe for custom macros. Maybe for quick navigation shortcuts. Whatever the case, it's another tool for productivity. And right below that, we see an extra button. At first glance, it doesn't look huge, but extra inputs always matter. One more button means one more customizable shortcut. For power users, that's gold. Whether it's launching an app, switching desktops, or triggering a workflow, that single button could save minutes every day. Durability is another focus this time. Logitech is calling the build made to last. The mouse now comes with a textured grip, designed for long hours of use without slipping or wearing down. It's clear they want this to be a mouse you keep for years. In a world where so many devices feel disposable, that's refreshing. And what about the sound? Logitech says the MX Master 4 has 90% quieter clicks compared to standard mice. If you've ever been in a quiet office, or worked late at night near someone trying to sleep, you know how much this matters. Instead of constant clicking that sounds like Morse code, you get near silence. The mouse still registers every press, but without the noise. It's a small change, but it makes a big difference in daily life. Now let's talk about performance. The MX Master 4 keeps the same 8K DPI sensor from the 3S. That might not sound new, but it's important. An 8K sensor means extreme precision. Whether you're working on pixel-perfect design or scrolling through lines of code, Logitech knows this is already top tier, so they didn't need to reinvent it. The scroll wheel is another returning champion. It's still capable of blasting through 1,000 lines per second. That's not marketing hype. It's a lifesaver when dealing with massive documents or endless data sheets. Smooth, fast, and controlled. Once you get used to this wheel, it's hard to go back to anything else. But here's something that did change: the weight. The MX Master 4 comes in at 150 grams, about 9 grams heavier than the 3S. Normally, extra weight in a mouse can feel clunky. But in this series, it actually feels premium. These are not gaming mice designed for rapid flicks. They're desk-first mice, built for comfort and stability. The added heft helps the mouse feel planted, solid, and professional. Not every change is exciting, though. Some areas stayed the same, and that's left people a little disappointed. Many were hoping for a 1000 Hz polling rate, a feature common in gaming mice that makes inputs feel lightning fast. But once again, the MX Master 4 is stuck at a lower rate. For productivity, it's fine. But for those who wanted that extra responsiveness, it's a miss. Battery life also hasn't improved. We're still looking at around 70 days of use on a single charge. Don't get me wrong, that's still excellent compared to most wireless mice. But it's the same as before. No leap forward here. And the battery? Still not swappable. That means when it eventually wears out, replacing it won't be easy. Shape and ergonomics are also unchanged. The MX Master 4 keeps the same silhouette we've known since the MX Master 2. That's both good and bad. On one hand, the shape works. It's one of the most comfortable designs on the market. On the other hand, some were hoping for something bold and fresh. If you wanted a complete redesign, this isn't it. And then there's the unboxing experience. Once again, Logitech isn't including a USB-C cable in the box. For a mouse that costs over $100, that feels stingy. Yes, most people already have cables lying around, but it still feels like something that should be standard. Speaking of price, leaks point to £129 in the UK and €129.99 across Europe. That's the same as the outgoing MX Master 3S. In other words, Logitech isn't charging more for the upgrades, which is good. Still, it's not a budget product. This is a premium mouse with a premium price tag. As for launch, all signs point to September 30th. That's just around the corner. Soon we'll see it officially announced and people will finally get to test it for themselves. So what does this all add up to? The MX Master 4 is not a revolution. It's not a ground-up redesign, but it is an evolution. It takes the strengths of the 3S, adds haptics, adds new inputs, improves durability, and polishes the experience. For some, that's more than enough. For others, it might feel too safe. But one thing is certain. Logitech knows their audience. They know what productivity-focused users want. They don't need to reinvent the mouse. They just need to make it better step by step. And that's exactly what the MX Master 4 seems to be doing. The MX Master 4 looks impressive on paper. But to really understand what it offers, we have to compare it with what came before. The MX Master 3 and 3S set a high standard. They gave us comfort, precision, and features that shape the way many of us work. So the big question is simple. Does the MX Master 4 move the needle enough to justify an upgrade? Let's start with the basics. The shape. From the MX Master 2 all the way to the 3S, Logitech has refined its ergonomic design. It fits the hand in a way most mice can't match. When the 4 arrived, many hoped for something radically new. But Logitech chose familiarity. The silhouette is almost the same. The curves, the thumb rest, the overall stance, it's all very recognizable. For longtime fans, that's a good thing. Why fix what isn't broken? Comfort has always been one of the strongest selling points. And when you use this mouse for hours every day, your hand and wrist thank you for that consistency. But for those looking for something bold, it may feel like Logitech played it safe. Now let's talk about features that actually changed. The biggest leap is haptics. This isn't just a buzzword. Haptics can transform how you interact with your computer. Imagine dragging a window across your screen and feeling resistance when you hit a boundary, or scrolling through a long document and sensing a soft click when you reach each section. These are subtle, but they add a new layer of control. Once you get used to it, it's hard to imagine going back. The action ring is another standout. Think of it as a blank canvas for shortcuts. In creative software, it might adjust brush size. In spreadsheets, it could jump between tabs. In video editing, it could scrub through timelines with precision. The extra button under the thumb follows the same logic. One more customizable input means one more chance to shave seconds off your workflow. And in productivity, seconds matter. But let's be honest, not everything is groundbreaking. Take the polling rate. Logitech kept it at the same level as before, far below gaming mice. For most productivity users, that's fine. You're not relying on split-second reactions like in competitive gaming, but still it feels like a missed opportunity. A higher polling rate would have made the mouse feel snappier, and in 2025 expectations are higher. Battery life is another example. 70 days is still excellent, but it's not new. For a flagship product, people expect leaps, not repeats, and the fact that the battery isn't swappable is frustrating. Batteries degrade. 2 or 3 years down the line, performance will dip. At this price point, users deserve an easier way to replace it. And then there's the scroll wheel. Yes, it's still one of the best in the industry. Yes, it can rip through 1,000 lines per second. But it's the same wheel we've had for years. Logitech calls it mag speed. It's magnetic, smooth, and addictive. But after 3 generations, people expected more. Maybe adaptive feedback. Maybe custom resistance settings. Something to show progress. Instead, it feels like the same story again. So the MX Master 4 lands in a strange place. On one hand, it's clearly better than the 3S. Haptics, action ring, quieter clicks, improved durability. All real upgrades. On the other hand, some core areas stayed frozen in time. Polling rate, battery, ergonomics, cable in the box, unchanged. For new buyers, this is a fantastic mouse. For existing owners, the decision is less clear. Let's break it down by type of user. If you're coming from a basic office mouse, the MX Master 4 will feel like a spaceship. The comfort, the precision, the customization, everything will feel like a huge leap. For you, this is a no-brainer. If you own an MX Master 2 or 2S, the jump makes sense too. Those models are now several years old. Upgrading gives you quieter clicks, stronger build quality, and more features to play with. It's a meaningful step forward. But if you already have the MX Master 3 or 3S, things get tricky. The differences are smaller. Sure, haptics are cool. The action ring is handy. But are they enough to justify spending another $120 or more? For many, the answer may be no. The 3S is still excellent. Unless you crave the new features, you might not feel a big difference in daily use.